Um, why it's even happening? I mean, it's if you really look at the reality of today's data-rich digital world, right? I think there is a very, very large, I mean, definitely every company is really becoming a data company. There is so much amount of data which is getting captured. As I said, the users still struggle to find information. And more than that, the number three is a new requirement. It's basically whether we are in a meeting, whether we are talking to a customer, there is always this what is called this quote unquote momentary information access. There is this one particular information we need at that point in time. Um, Normally we end up in scenarios like, hey, even when we are presenting something in a meeting, there is this one metric which is missing, and then it's always like, hey, I'll get back to you on this, or can we talk to somebody who has. So this momentary information access is, it's one of the new need which is happening, where we all have questions, which just need answers right away. How do we achieve that, or how do we cater to this new requirement, right? And also there are like so many BI tools. There is one for metrics, one for dashboards, another one for reports, and there are like, so I mean, what we really call is, fragmented BI tool sets, and then of course that results in increasing costs and all that, right? And six is also kind of, it's a very, very common problem, and companies do spend significant amount of time and effort. The ROI seem to be a challenge, and then are we really getting value for the investments and all that, right? At the same time, if you contrast this to the modern day information needs, right? As I said, definitely one of the primal need is, can I really, how easy it is for us to get insights from very, very large volume of data at this particular instant, not after weeks and months and all that, right? And the number three is also something, all of us, we make use of, we leveraged popular search engines for any of our other information needs, right? For personal needs. Is there a way, we could replicate a similar behavior, within the enterprises, right? Just like our popular search engines and all that, right? Um, the other thing is, I mean, even when we are trying to look at a metric or a report, at the end of the day, it's basically all of us. If you are an information user, there is a question, which we have, which we try to get the answer. I think that is the key thing about it. I mean, even when we are trying to read a metric or read a chart, it's basically, we are trying to get an answer which we have in our mind. I think that's what, we're really trying to do here, right? So I mean, this is what we really call as, the I need to know now moments. I mean, if I have questions like, hey, what pages do users spend most time on? If we have launched a new website, and definitely if we are looking at um, in ways to improve the adoption, all that, definitely, the curiosity factors around, hey, we would like to know what pages users are spending the most time on, or what channel do customers in this particular age group. Maybe I may want to redefine my marketing campaign, if it is not to target a specific age segment and all that. So all these are based on who you are, who the user is. I think, all of us are basically trying to get answers to these questions, right? Um, Contrast it to what we have today. I mean, right? I think, these are, I'm sure if you have worked on data warehousing and BI space, I think it's a very, very common problem space to relate to, in terms of analytics efforts, take a lot of time. Metadata is really becoming a problem rather than, it's the actual data. It is also because of the complexity with the data models, the data catalog and all that. I think, that the metadata or basically what that attribute is, I think that is really becoming a challenge. Too many dashboards and scorecards, and self-service BI is really turning out to be, I mean, self-service BI is basically, they were attempting, to take the BI, the reporting closer to the business people or non-technical people. But more and more, we see even producing a dashboard or a metric in a self-service BI tool itself is really taking a lot of time. That itself is becoming like a project and all that, right? And also, I mean, this is again, what they call as the dead by metrics. There are just way too many dashboards and metrics. Right. It is still too technical. There is a good amount of technical effort required to produce these, the various BI reports and outputs, and obviously, which results in the painful delays in access to information. If you really consider this as the flow of, the user has an information need, they ask a resource, you get an answer, and then this cycle of asking a trusted resource and getting an answer really takes a lot of time. I mean, this is what is really causing the most of the delays in, in the form of projects and, time consuming projects and efforts, right? So what we would like to put it is, it's like the modern information access challenge. It's not necessarily about the capture and store. I think, the technology has pretty matured a lot, or rather even the unit cost for storage is also come down drastically. So most of the digitization efforts has resulted in very companies have become extremely good in capturing very large volumes of data, building large lake houses, warehouses, and all that. But now the question is more around, how do we make this data easily available, in, I mean, in a form which is very easy for a diverse set of users. I think that's where, that's what is really going to, become the problem. And this is where, with, I'll show you some examples in terms of, can we really apply generative AI based concepts, to get answers and narrate a story and all that. I think, it's more and more towards making this data easily available, for information access.